And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Anytime you're talking about fundamentals in a market and direction, fundamentals take a little bit of time to play out.
We got crude oil today, kind of trading yesterday's value area really nicely, low to high.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trade routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
All right. Good afternoon, traders, friends, family. Welcome to the Market Forecast recap. That is Wednesday, the 30th of March. Tomorrow is the last day of the first quarter of the year. We have to see what happens tomorrow, I guess, huh? As far as things that have gone on today and on the mind of traders, investors seem to be tiring of little to no progress on peace talks between Ukraine and Russia. COVID fears have reared their ugly head again as vaccines and restrictions re-enter the news feed. Possible restrictions coming on the new variant of Omicron. I forget what it's called again, but it's still COVID. And crude prices remain firm after the EIA announced a 3 million barrel draw in inventories. Hearing just a couple of minutes ago that the Vatican Bank in Italy has changed a whole bunch of euro into rubles so they can buy gas from Russia. Very interesting. As far as the markets are concerned today, the equities, crude oil, the inventories and kind of war worries kept prices firm, actually gained up about 0.5% today. The ES and the NASDAQ ended about 1% lower. Dow loses a little over 150. What started out to be a very slow day ended up just kind of slipping away to the downside today. Gold fears, again, global fears probably driving price. Close to a $20 move to the upside today. The euro buyers holding up against that resistance level, that weekly kickoff high all day long, just trying to see if they can exhaust any sellers up there, it looks like. The 10-year rates slid as yield curves have flattened, and the nat gas prices higher to test last week's high. Nothing huge in any of the markets, really, just interesting things going on. Thank you all who joined me for group coaching today. I thought it was a really good session. I think it went really well. Tomorrow we've got I lost it. Tomorrow we have Make Hogue Money. I'm going to bring that up and put the link in so you can join us. Odd. Well, I'll put that link in tomorrow morning. What do you think? I was going to try and put it in today, but for some reason, I'm having trouble getting into the account. There it is. Just give me a second. Let me get the link here. We'll have some fun after the forecast tomorrow morning, about 8:20, 8:25. We'll go into a Zoom meeting. The way this works, we're going to look at the S&Ps. I'm going to randomly or semi-randomly choose 5 people. They're going to be able to speak. We're going to talk about trades, talk about your trade ideas. Everybody that's there is going to have the opportunity to vote for them. And we're going to see if we can't take a trade tomorrow. Now, this will be the third session. I think people are liking it. I'm going to add another session each week on Tuesdays. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're going to do Make Hogue Money after the market forecast. Hopefully we'll make some money. After all, that is one of the rules. You'll see tomorrow if you haven't been to Make Hogue Money. Tachyon, good afternoon. Scott saw and he conquered Federico. LG, yeah, there's some concern about whether Biden even wants peace. I saw some murmurings about that today. From an outside perspective, I'm in Italy. My impression is that all faults are given to Biden. Won't say more. Not the right place to discuss Federico. Well, we all are entitled to our thoughts and our opinions. You got no problem here. Maybe not the best place to discuss it, but we feel you. Sean, Tachyon, first, are you going to give other people the opportunity to win the prize? Sometimes. Dan, choppy morning, made 200, gave back 50 in the afternoon. Personal worst type of trade today for you. Didn't get a rhythm, never went negative, but never got a good stride. That's okay, Dan. It's all right. Certain days are better than others, that's for sure. And I didn't get anything going today in the S&Ps either. I thought it was a pretty tough day. The way it opened, there's no confidence, no movement, no momentum, and it just ground to the downside until we were able to see some continuation of the downside. But at that point, I was thinking, well, it's too cheap to sell, and I don't want to buy it, so I'm just going to watch. It's okay. I feel like I'm making 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. Well, that's trading, Dan. That's trading. As long as you take one more step forward than you take steps back, you're doing well. Just build that account over time. Hello, Steve. Scott was down most of the day. He was able to get a good opportunity during group coaching to make it all back, make it for a little profit. Nice, Scott. Good to hear that. Can switch that around for me, Dan. Felt like I was going backward the past couple of weeks. Stop limits have been helping me trade to tomorrow. Good. Tachyon. I expect ES to continue moving downward tomorrow, too, until downward of MACD works out. May take a few days. Steve, I'd be concerned that Putin is pondering hitting Kiev hard with God knows what. Yeah, that's a lot of the speculation, and I don't even want to talk about it. But this Putin is he's a bad guy. Sean, are the Make Hogue Money videos made public on YouTube or elsewhere after they're filmed? No, not yet. We're really just trying it out, Sean. If it is something that we're enjoying, we're doing good, we can always post those on YouTube. But right now, we're just doing them in private meetings in Zoom. If things go well and we find a stride, we can probably post them live on YouTube as well. So we're just getting started. Love your ideas, your feedback, your thoughts, and constructive criticisms are always extremely important to us. Bron. I took 2 weeks off after having a bad few days when this war started, and I came back and I found myself reading the market better and ended up 200. Nice, or 2,000, Bron. Sometimes we get so close to looking at these markets and that we can't see because we just get too close to it. Taking some time off really can do a good job of helping you recognize opportunities better. Your vision gets better. Your eyes get clearer when you come back and you're fresh and you don't have all these things going on in your brain, and you can trade what you see. Ken, thank you very much. He's telling everybody to hit the lucky like button. It really works. Thank you, Ken. It's really all about you guys. I want to make sure that we have as many people succeed as possible, and if I'm helping with that, that's what makes me happy. But thank you, Ken. All right. Why don't we go ahead and jump into the charts here? Let me get things set up for us. Let's start with crude today. We know that the EIA announced a 3.1 million barrel draw in crude. Let's see what we see. Sorry about that. I'm getting some new equipment here soon, and that's going to take care of that issue. I apologize. I didn't have the mic. Technology. Yes, technology is good. So this is the daily in crude. We know we're coiling. We're building energy, if you'll pardon the pun. It is crude oil. And yesterday we had an attempt to drive below weekly kickoff low, which was rejected. We lost open interest on that. Maybe some short covering below that level. Today we get some continuation to the upside, of course, with the drop of 3.1 million barrels of inventory here in the U.S. Take a look at the 30. So most of the activity, most of the move happened in the overnight. There's our settlement from yesterday, which was 104.24. We had a lot of overnight longs in this market that really didn't try and take out any of those longs, take any of those profits until we closed this little gap. We were looking at this little gap, basically from this low to this high. The market traded within 2 ticks of that gap close and then turned around. Look what it did after the EIA. It broke. We have less crude oil, and the market broke. How does this market do that so consistently? There was one decent opportunity just before that number. As we got up to this level here, I want to make this really big so you can see it. We got up, closed the gap here really just almost by 2 ticks. The move up here, okay, this was after the EIA. So the market comes up here, gives us an opportunity to limit risk up against this high. If we stayed in it, we had a pretty decent opportunity to the downside, actually, on an up day, up overnight, down regular trading hour session day. I don't know what we're looking at tomorrow. We're looking at more of the same. We're still coiling. Watch these trend lines for opportunities to fade against them. Acceptance outside of them brings potential bigger opportunities. Okay. Mike is still on. S&Ps yesterday, we added some open interest on some decent volume. An inside day today. What are we waiting for? What are we looking for? Well, we know we had the ADP today came out a little bit better than they were expecting. We have jobless clams tomorrow and unemployment on Friday. Tomorrow, again, is the last day of the quarter. You may see some adjusting of inventories at that point. So, boy, we really came off that low really nicely. Let's take a look at that on the 30 chart. So the market really just very range bound, very small range early in the session. It wasn't until we started pushing the lows, which we pushed the lows here a little bit. We came back. We pushed the lows here a little bit. We came back. We pushed the lows here, came back basically to weekly kickoff level. Then we started to accelerate to the downside. It was a nightmare day if you were trying to buy against the lows, or if you were trying to catch a quick breakout below. You didn't have that opportunity. It was a really tough day. We did not, however, close the gap to the high of this late spike from Monday. Interesting. The market basically coming right back to an important inflection level here in the S&Ps. These markets are so resilient. I mean, I was thinking about the uncertainties in the world and in the market, and it really seemed to weigh heavy on them today. But what a nice recovery for the S&Ps, even for the Nasdaq. Nasdaq still testing weekly kickoff high as resistance. Same but different. Same but different. Take a look at the 30. So again, the market opened in range and value. We didn't really have any big opportunities early in the session. Best trade location came an hour and a half after the open, when we traded almost back to settlement, almost back to weekly kickoff high. And then we started to rotate, and then the continuation to the down didn't close this gap. And now we've got a nice recovery. What is this market doing, and why is it doing that? This is no good anymore. This has to go. We already checked that. I'm just going to store that up here for now. I'll get rid of it. Okay. Let's look at gold. Tough spot there in gold. We had that bear flag. The bear flag looked like it was going to really give us some good downside opportunities yesterday, but that was denied. 1918 was settlement, 1920 weekly kickoff level. I'm sorry, 1926 weekly kickoff low. Opening back above it today, driving back above this trend line. This trend line was going to be an interesting spot. Let's take a look at it on the 30. So here's the big gap. Okay, we still haven't filled the whole thing. We opened with overnight inventory to the long side. The overnight inventory gave us an opportunity basically right back to 1921 weekly kickoff low. What was that low right here on the 8 o'clock bar? 1926.70. 7 ticks from weekly kickoff. Then we kind of tried to drive this market higher. We tested to this naked point of control. We're going to leave that there because it's already been checked. And then we rotate. That's what gold seems to do. You get the move relatively early in the session, and then it sits there and rots. If you lose money on that move, you're not getting it back in the afternoon. Dan, yeah, right after you get out, then it turns around, right? That's always the way. It's almost like markets are like poltergeists. They know what scares you. Here's the euro. Okay. We did a good overnight test of weekly kickoff high, if you remember that from this morning. Take a look at the 30. We didn't close above it. Man, oh man, this was such a high target rich environment up here. You got value, you got overnight high, you got weekly kickoff high. It's a target rich environment, but boy, the buyers really tried to hold and push this market up above that level. If we can exhaust the sellers up here, there might be some decent upside move in the euro. And here's let's look at the 10-year first here. So, the futures we were thinking were a little bit short. It takes a little bit of a downtick from the yields to kind of create this pullback that we're currently in. Just thinking about what we did yesterday, we lost 9,000 in open interest. So that move back off that low does seem as though it may have been, to a degree, some short covering, some traders taking some profits on those lows. Take a look at the 30, see what it did today. So opening in range and in value, again, patience would have paid. We didn't want to get in too early. In that second half hour, we traded right to value low from yesterday, and then we started our move to the upside. Not quite sure what to think of this market as tomorrow. It's going to take some research and some thought to really think about what this thing is going to do from here. We have one time framing activity. We have an area of balance. I'm going to put a little box over this little area of balance. So we know that we're considering this a short time frame area of balance. I'm going to put another little box right here. Little balance box. We've got our low. Is this balance here, or are we going to head back into this area of balance? If this is balance, is it beginning to overlap this previous area of balance? If that's the case, be another indication of exhaustion of the auction process to the downside. We know rates are going to go higher. This can't continue to push up higher for very long. And in saying that, I just ensured that it will. Let's look at the natural gas. So it came off the highs for a couple of days there. Now it tests right back to last week's high. And an increase in open interest off those highs. Still, we're working on getting through rollover. Take a look at the 30 and see if anything makes sense here. So again, opening in range and in value. However, this is a little bit different. Our best trade location of the day did happen in that first half hour. Not an opening range trade, but basically a move to test point of control. And then buyers came in and took us right back up to last week's high. We did take out 2 naked points of control that were still hanging out there. So there's a little bit of repair there. I think tomorrow our last week's high is going to be somewhat pivotal. All right. Let's see what we've got going on. So I apologize again about the lack of sound there for a minute, and thanks for letting me know. Should be fixing that problem very soon. I know I've been talking about getting some new equipment to make sure that things run a little bit smoother, and we're working on that. Steve, glad you're enjoying it. Some of the usual short covering from 3:55 till now, 2:55 Central, I'm assuming. Yes. Have been playing that lately. Caught a good 50 points. Nice job. That's a nice move, Steve. Ooh, man, that's a beauty. Huh, CNBC, we're in the land of milk and honey. Bye, bye, bye. Right. Steve, I'm glad you're enjoying this. We love you too. We want you to succeed. $10 a loaf of bread? Likely not, although consumers will be cutting back exponentially on purchases, especially with discretionary items. Yes, you cannot eat a Google sandwich. That's very well put. What happened this day in history? On this day in 1981, President Reagan was shot. I remember that. Yes, I'm that old. This day in 1867, U.S. Secretary of State William Seward signs a treaty with Russia for the purchase of Alaska for $7 million. $7 million for Alaska. Think of how expensive real estate is now. There was a house on Lake Geneva, just north of here in Wisconsin, that just sold for $36 million. Now, this is one house on one little lake, but Alaska for $7 million. They called it Seward's Folly. It was ridiculed in Congress. But what a purchase. And you guys might think I'm a little sappy here, but John Denver is one of my favorite artists. And on this day in 1974, his Sunshine on My Shoulders hit number one. Uh, 1870. The 15th Amendment was adopted on this date. That granted African American men the right to vote, formally adopted into the U.S. Constitution. So, big day. And in music, you know whose birthday it is today? Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton's birthday, born in 1945. 1945, the end of World War I. What's that make him? 55, 65, 75. He's an old guy now. Still rocks, though. I've seen him a number of times. Always a good show. You know who else's birthday it is today? MC Hammer. Can't touch this. And Celine Dion, 1968. And Norah Jones. Norah Jones. Her dad is Ravi Shankar, Indian sitar player. I like Norah Jones. Right. Benjamin, my volume profiles are only set to regular trading hour session. Yes. All right. Well, it's 3:30 Central. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for joining me for group coaching today. Looking forward to tomorrow's forecast, see what the markets are looking like. And, of course, let's make Hogue money right after the forecast. I look forward to seeing you there. Here's that link again, in case you missed it. Let's have some fun. Get some rest tonight. Be good boys and girls. Got a lot of work to do tomorrow. Be ready for trading tomorrow. Have a good night. Be good to each other. Be good to yourself. And continue praying for peace.